This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Well, welcome, my brothers and sisters, to another edition of Straight Talk with your truly Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. Big Papa, what's up, Big Papa?
That was the fastest countdown I ever seen. On the count of five, we're going live. 1, 2, 4, 5. I'm well, Bishop Greg Fann, the preacher man.
Happy birthday to Dr. Gerald Durley. Dr. Durley's birthday was, what's the date? 11th. We just pre-recorded, so the 11th, we celebrating him a happy birthday.
Yes,
Many of y'all may get this later, but Dr. Durley turned 81 years old.
81 years young. And happy birthday to... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Dr. Durley is a stellar, not only in our community, but he's just a stellar person anyway. He's been out here on the battlefield a long time. And as he said, get in the battle. He's been in the battle a long time. And we just want to thank God for Dr. Durley and the work that he has done, the work that he is doing for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. So,
and happy 90th birthday. And happy 90th birthday to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who turned 90 on May 11th as well.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He and Dr. Durley they're friends, and they know they share the same birthday.
All right. Well,
it's about 9 years apart.
We're gonna wish everybody that born in the month of May a happy birthday, and then Sunday, all the mothers, a happy Mother's Day. We want to wish all of you a happy Mother's Day. And these allergies are bothering me tonight. They are bothering me today. They are bothering me.
Well, you've called on one of the elders, and I'm going to pray for you. Lord, touch Bishop tonight and let him get through this broadcast and heal his body.
And wait a minute, hold on for a minute. I want to stop you in your prayer.
I'm not used to telling people to hold on when I'm praying.
Let me stop you in prayer. Your eyes still open. So I don't know if you're praying or just talking.
Oh, no, I'm praying.
Okay, just so I want to make sure that you're praying, okay? I need to see your eyes closed. I need to see your eyes closed when you're praying. I don't need to see you praying for me and your eyes open and you're reading a strip and a prayer and everything. I want to know it's coming.
And I hope you don't ever go to the School of the Blind. I hope you don't ever visit the prayer devotional hour at the School of the Blind.
I don't worry about the ones that are blind, because I know they sin anyway. They're sincere in their prayer. But I mean, you with your eyes open and you praying, I want to make sure that you're sincere when you're praying for me, brother. I don't want you just saying words, flowery words.
So you want me to close my eyes and bow my head?
And bow your head and get on your knees when you pray for me. Shoot, man, please. I need for you to pray for it. I need God to hear your prayer. Sincere prayer.
Well, you let me know. If you keep sniffling, maybe I should have closed my eyes.
Well, I'm still sniffling. Listen, we'll be right back in a little bit with more Straight Talk. We're going to be talking about some good things tonight. We'll be talking about some of the things that Ms. Gifford is doing again, and with all this gun violence. And we're going to be talking about Mr. What his name is again, Shanan?
Santo.
Soon to be ex-Congressman Santo.
Lord.
I
picked up his name if he didn't lie about it.
We'll see you on the other side. And we're going to be talking about something Marjorie Greene said too also. We'll be back on the other side.
Marjorie tell a lie.
After Missy.
Lying Congressman. Lord.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hello, Bishop Greg. Hello, Pastor Shanan. Hope you all are doing well. Before I continue, I just want to give you, Pastor Greg and Pastor Shanan, I just want to give y'all kudos for the information you shared on gun violence. We have got to somehow curb this thing of guns and killing babies. You know, it really hurts my heart when I hear of a young child getting killed, you know. So I thank you so much for what you did on the last show. Anyway, the New Beginning International Church Ministries welcomes you to worship with them each Sunday at 5 p.m. They're located at 2459 Roosevelt Highway in College Park. The pastor is Alfonso McDonald. New beginnings are opportunities to start all over again. There will be a clergy and public safety forum held May 23rd, 10 a.m. at the Enon Church, 3550 Enon Road in Atlanta. A free breakfast will be served. Dr. Gregory L. Pollard is host pastor. Flipper Temple AME Church at 580 Fair Street in Southwest Atlanta celebrates its graduates on June 27th at the 10:45 a.m. service. Join us as we congratulate and encourage our graduates to strive and thrive as they go forth in life. Reverend Gregory Von Eason is pastor. And listen, I have 4 things I'd like for you to do for us. I'd like for you to like us, subscribe to us, leave comments, and share us. Tell everybody you know about Straight Talk News with Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Pastor Shanan Jones. And listen, if you would like for us to announce your event, send it to us. Email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And listen, I hope you have a wonderful week in the Lord. And listen, stay safe out there on those roads, all right? See ya.
All right, Miss C, great job, Miss C, always. And you look lovely this week, Miss C. You look.
You
You
look
really
lovely every week, Miss C.
Oh, Lord have mercy. You just love the brown nose, Miss C. You just love the brown nose, Miss C. Jesus. Yeah, you do. But listen, don't forget, this is a very important meeting that we're going to hold on the 23rd at the Enon Church, where the pastor is Pastor Dr. Gregory Pollard. We're going to the South Florida Ministry Alliance, the CBC, Concerned Black Clergy of Atlanta, and the Atlanta Metro Alliance. We're hosting this meeting along with other pastors to deal with what's going on in our community with gun violence and how the police is dealing with it and public safety is dealing with it, how we can come in and work as clergy and community leaders to help try to eradicate what we're seeing. Ms. Gifford has said something that's very important. She said, and you know, she's been on this gun violence ever since she was shot, right, Shannon?
Shot.
So, yeah, Ms. Gifford is saying that she said this was yesterday that 31,000 people have been killed by guns this year. We're just 5 months in the year. Just 5 months, 31,000. That's like the epidemic, like COVID virus. All these people were killed by a virus. Now people are being killed, assassinated, young and old, middle age, being killed with guns. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but we want you to come out on the 23rd. On the 23rd, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but what? Power and what? A sound mind. So we want you to come out and be a part of this on the 23rd, a public safety and clergy forum to discuss how we as clergy and the public safety can come together and work to help to try to eradicate the problems of crime in our community. Well, Shannon, you know, I got this clip that I want to share. It's just going to be the voice of Mrs. Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, Miss Greene is such a hypocrite. She is such a hypocrite. She really is a hypocrite. If that ever a hypocrite, she's one. Miss Greene is going to say something that I think that Shannon is going to shock a lot of people. She's now standing at the well, and she's going to be talking about, well, there's Ms. Greene. Speak for yourself, Ms. Greene. Let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to the gentlelady from the state of Georgia, Ms. Greene.
The gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to remind everyone that Republicans believe in legal immigration. As a matter of fact, we're very proud of our former First Lady, Melania Trump, who immigrated legally to the United States. But there's a clear difference in policies when we talk about border and security for the United States of America. And I think it's very important to remind my colleagues across the aisle what our oath of office actually says. We swear an oath that we will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that is a very important oath to swear, and it's one to uphold. But
it really is, Ms. Green. It really is a very important oath to swear to and to support. But you, Ms. Green, the former president who was supposed to do just that, allowed for the Capitol to be overran by insurrectionists and would not defend you, even Ms. Green, as a congressman, and your other colleagues by letting them to take over the Capitol to try to save himself to continue to be the president of the United States. And you upheld him in that action, Ms. Green. You're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. If there was a hypocrite, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are one. And I want to say to you, hush your mouth, Marjorie. Just hush your mouth. If Marjorie tell a lie, just hush your mouth.
Yeah. Can we call her a lying hypocrite?
Yeah.
Marjorie tell a lie.
Jesus Christ, man. I mean,
but the Capitol is, it's like there's something in the atmosphere of that place. I mean, you've always had a bunch of lying hypocrites around the Capitol.
Right.
But it just seems to be, it just seems to be the order of the day right now. You got this New York George Santos, which I know we're going to talk about tonight. Just Lord, I don't even know if that's the man's name. I mean, because he lied about so much.
But he's a Republican.
Man told me good morning. I looked outside; it was midnight. It's not good morning. Well, I guess it is technically, but it's dark.
Lord have mercy. But she's a Republican. He's a Republican. You got the Speaker of the House, McCarthy, who needed his vote to secure his place as the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
How many votes they had to have before he sold his soul to get to be the Speaker of the House? He needed Santos to be there to help him to get to be the Speaker of the House. Now all of this is coming out, and everybody knew it. They knew it then that he had lied to win that seat, and he had used campaign money to pay his rent and all the other kinds of things that he had done. They knew it. But they wasn't to deal with it. Now you have Republicans come out and say, "Well, yeah, something needs to be done about it." Well, where were you when that needs to be said and need to be done? Right? You were in the closet trying to help get your agenda passed and get McCartney as the Speaker of the House. And if you ask me, he's not a real good Speaker of the House because he really doesn't have any backbone. He really don't have any backbone. That's my opinion. He really don't have any backbone. But I tell you who do have some backbone. That proud senator from the state of Georgia, Raphael Warnock. He's got some backbone. He's got some backbone. But we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want to talk about Santos and his lying. Shanan, I know you got a dissertation to give on that. You got a dissertation.
I don't have a dissertation about it. You can't say much about a liar except the fact that old Breon Peace, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, sung him a lullaby yesterday, 13 counts. Santos 13 count indictment charging Mr. Santos with 7 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 1 count of theft of public funds, 2 counts of making materially false statements to the House of been lying up in Congress, lied to get their line still there. And so the U.S. attorney said that the congressman relied on repeated dishonesty and deception to ascend the halls of Congress and to enrich himself. George Santos says, "I will not resign." He's a lie. He will be resigning. He's a lie. He will be resigning because you can't be no congressman from jail and from prison. And that's where he's on the way. He's on his way to prison. Uh,
Shannon, he won't have to resign. He will be removed.
yeah, if McCarthy and if they would actually do it, if they'll do it.
No, I mean,
McCarthy is we got this.
if he's indicted, he will automatically be removed from that
Yeah,
seat.
if he's indicted, he will
Yeah,
have to be removed. That's right.
right,
That's right.
right.
But I think he should be. I think that before the indictment, he should be encouraged, and many of his colleagues, Republican colleagues from New York, from his own districts, from the New York, from the New York delegation, I should say, are calling for him to step down. That he's an eyesore, a pariah, a liar. And just, I mean, I just, the way to which he was elected, it sickened me to hear. And then I heard someone say the other day, I think that he's a good person. Good person. I think he's a sick person.
A good liar.
And I think that when he gets to wherever he's gonna go, whether he is indicted and goes to prison, or if he's removed, if he's forced to resign, he needs to quickly check himself into Liars Anonymous, and he needs to sit on the most comfortable couch he can there and just stay there, George. Don't leave. Don't leave until they get the line out of you, because you are an absolute liar. And
can he bring Marjorie with him? Can he bring Marjorie over there with him?
They need to go together, because what they ultimately what they've done is they've broken the public trust, and that's a very serious crime. But this man has lied about being a Jew. He has lied about helping puppies. This man has said he's given hundreds of thousands of dollars to his campaign, and this is not the kind of leader that you want leading anything. I wouldn't want George Santos to be a leader of a gang, let alone a congressional representative of the United States. He is not a political leader. He's a sick man, and Mitt Romney tried to tell him that, but he is the elected representative for his district. I believe that's the whatever district that is that.
We know it's in New York. You may not know the particular district. I may not.
Yeah,
but the reality of it is, but I want to go back.
I think it's Central Islip, New York.
Okay.
But they elected him, and the people need to really call for him to step down. This man really needs help.
Right.
He's a mental. When we talk about mental health and mental illness, this man is mentally ill.
Well,
he's mentally ill.
Let me just say this: there are a lot of things that we can say, but I want to talk about a fact here, Shannon. A fact. You just said that his colleagues in New York are now asking him to resign because he's an embarrassment to the state of New York.
After they used him
that's
to
what I'm
empower
saying.
themselves.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So I'm just saying is, as corrupt, and people always say politics is corrupt. People are corrupt. Politics is not corrupt. It's the people who are in those political positions that are corrupt.
I agree.
Politics is not corrupt. It's the people who we elect in a certain position that are corrupt. It's just like we don't have all bad politicians. We have some good politicians, elected officials. We have some good ones, but they're overshadowed by the liars. And people buy into this and it becomes a popularity contest. And so Mr. Santos, he was able to articulate his points and say things that take his lies and embellish his lies and get people to buy into his lies, and they bought into his lies, and then they get what they got because they elected a bad person. You say he's mentally disturbed. He is a bad person at heart, that he will want to use people, a lot of people, for his own personal aggrandizement. And politics should not be about our personal aggrandizement. You should go into politics to serve the will of the people. Now, will all the people agree with what you do? No, they won't. They really won't, because nobody will agree with everything anybody do. People who view this don't agree with everything we say and do. But the reality of it is, but there are some people that do some good things for the people. They are. So we can't throw out the baby, as you would say, with the bathwater. We have to make sure that we keep on electing good people. And when we find bad people, we need to root them out and elect people who are good people that's going to serve the interests of the people. I'm going to yield to you after I say this. Is that politics is about being a servant. You going in to serve the people. And as those of us who are believers, who believe in God and believe in Christ Jesus, we are servants. We're servants. Because in the end, what we want to hear him say, servant well done. We want to hear him say, bishop well done, pastor well done, minister well done, or evangelist, or whatever you call your title you have here that you hold. That title won't hold with him, because you want to hear him say, what? Servant well done. Because why does it say servant? Because he was a servant. He came to serve the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And when people go into public service, whether you're in the pulpit, you're in public service. And whatever you do when you're dealing with the public, you're in public service. So you are a servant. You don't go in there for self-aggrandizement. You go in there for serving and helping God's people, the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And that's a fact. And I will say that till my tongue cleave to the root of my mouth. There are some good people who are servants, but then there are some people who need to be rooted out, like Mr. Santos, and he should have been rooted out long before now. Like Miss Green need to be rooted out, because she's a cancer, and she's spreading that cancer by continually being a hypocrite, saying one thing. Like they used to say, politicians talk about both sides of their mouth. They talk about both sides of their neck. That's one of them right there. And she's out of Georgia. An embarrassment to this state. She should be removed too.
And a couple nights ago, Trump had his state of the had his not say the union, but his town hall on CNN, and they asked him about Russia and the war, and he said, "I just want people to stop dying." It was something he couldn't say anything about Russia or whether Ukraine. He just said, "I think people should stop dying." And I thought that was quite interesting. And I'm wondering if Russia has something to do with his plans as the front runner for the Republican nomination. So you got George Santos, a Republican, and a pathological liar. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a undiagnosed pathological liar, and an unindicted pathological liar. And then you've got the president, and we already know that statistically,
former president,
exactly,
yeah.
Who's been caught in Trump, who's been caught in more lies than any other president in the history of the U.S. presidents.
But you see the hypocrisy of what you just said. He said, "I wish that people would stop dying." When you allow for people, because you wanted to keep the office of president, how many people lost their lives in that insurrection? How many people were beaten and nursing wounds now? How many people were mentally scarred?
How many people could have potentially lost their lives? I mean, we as Gabby Gifford says, 31,000 people as of May the 10th have been killed due to gun violence. And we just said, and this just we're taping this on May 11th. How many people will ultimately lose their lives, and to an active shooter or someone that just walked in. Every week this year, there's been an active shooter that's been reported. And we know that since May 3rd in Atlanta, there have been, as of Monday of this week, there had been 12 to 13 other mass shootings, which is 4 people shot as a mass shooting. So you've had perhaps 12 to 13 more unreported mass shootings since Atlanta on May the 3rd. What am I saying? How hard would it have been for someone to take an AR-15 in there? Perhaps they might have had it because they were looking for the Speaker of the House and looking for the Vice President. So a few people died. One committed suicide, I believe, and but far more could have died. And the president sat back and did not stop that. And that was all about stopping the certification of the election and trying to hold on to his power. Very dangerous, and I would say a move of tyranny and sedition.
We know from what's being said. See, God has a way of letting you run so long, then He'll pull the cover off of you. All the things that Mr. Trump has done is coming back. The roosters are coming back. Right? They're coming back to nest, right? So all those things he's done. I mean, just one thing after another thing. And you talk about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney said Trump should not run. He said he should not run. The people who are real diehards and sincere Republicans, and they believe in the values of the Republican Party. I'm not talking about Lindsey Graham. I'm not talking about Ted Cruz. I'm not talking about those who said one thing about he shouldn't run, he should never be president before he got to be president, then went to brown nosing him after he got to be president, right? So I'm not talking about those guys, but I'm talking about guys like Mitt Romney and others who have been quiet, because Romney has been quiet. Now let's be honest, he's been quiet too. He has not been vocal.
Well, Bishop, let me say this. I don't know if Mitt has the credibility, because Mitt Romney has run more races than Jackie Joyner Kersee. So I don't know if he's the one to say whether or not Trump should run or not. But I hear your point. Remember, there are others.
Right.
But I think he's trapped in the same kind of hypocrisy Mitt Romney is.
Well, he may be,
but I think he's quiet. I think he's quiet for a reason. And I think he's quiet for a reason. And I think that they're all quiet, and this is a part of their hypocrisy too. They're not prophetic. They're afraid of Trump backers, and that's why they've been quiet. So they've been in charge of their own organization.
You mean financial backers? You talking about financial?
No,
backers?
I'm talking about his political backers. I'm talking about his political and his financial backers. That Mitt Romney is concerned that Trump has, that he can activate voters in his Senate district, in his state, in his state, and so he's nervous about that, and I think many of them are, and that speaks to their own kind of hypocrisy and fear, and the reason why Trump keeps trending, man, is that he just, whenever you get him, he's like, okay, boom, and he just keeps moving, and that folks like that, people like that, his voters like that, and so maybe they should try the same thing and come, and fight him, back him up, but they won't do it. And Trump knows they won't do it. And that's why in 2023, Donald Trump is the Republican front runner, as it was announced yesterday by Caitlin Collins on CNN.
Well, I would say this. If Donald Trump becomes the president again of the United States of America, we will no longer be a democracy. We will be under a dictatorship. Because if this man has that kind of power to influence people not to stand up for what's wrong, against what's wrong, and stand up for what's right, we are in trouble. And that's from the clergy all the way down. If we're not willing to stand up and speak truth to power, then we got a problem. We got a problem. And this will no longer be a democracy. We will be under dictatorship. And that's real talk, on straight talk. So I think people need to just open up your eyes and see it for what it is and understand. Don't be caught up with the influence of an individual. Say, he can do this. He can get money for us. He wrote us a check. We got a check when he was president. He did this and he did that. Yeah, but buying your vote, I don't have to actually come to you and give you money in your hand, but I can turn around and give it to you another way. But it's coming from me, and you know it's coming from me. So, and that's what a lot of people got duped about that, because he was giving this and he was giving that and he's giving this. He's a good man. He's good. He's He's a bad man. In his heart, he's a bad man. He doesn't care what he say. He doesn't care what he do to people. He used people as a pawn. He's thrown every person that has been loyal to him, he's thrown them under the bus. If he's throwing the people under the bus that have been loyal to him, what do you think he'll do for the American people? He'll throw all of us under the bus. If he's elected president again, he don't care because it's all about him and his agenda. So, hey, this ain't nothing but straight talk. I'm Greg Fann, the preacher, man. I got to put it out here the way that it is because that's the way I see it, and that's just the way it is. How about that, Shannon?
I hear you. Before we get out of here tonight, I just want to say that young brother Jordan Neely, a New York City homeless street performer who was unfortunately murdered on social media by having after following a mental break on a New York City subway train. It seems that the rallying cry, the Marine that held him in a chokehold, which is illegal, and I know it's illegal or it's against the policy of New York police and the state police and all police forces in the state of New York. And I believe it's an illegal chokehold in the state as the law itself. But for 15 minutes or so, he was held. The young brother who impersonated the likes of Michael Jackson and many others was said that one that never hurt or could not hurt a fly lost his life, so they are indicting or bringing charges against the Marine that took his life, that said that he felt threatened by him and that he was protecting all the people on the train. One man, a young guy having a psychotic break, a bunch of people on the New York train. Do you understand? Can I tell you what people do when people get on the New York train and they start screaming, I'm going to take off, I'm going to do this to everyone, and I'm going to do this. I've been on the train. This is what happens. Somebody get on the train. Instead, I'm going to hurt everybody on here. I'm going to do this, that, and that. This is what people do.
Keep on reading the paper.
And this man got up and grabbed this young brother and put him in a hold against his life, killed him, and murdered him. And finally, the blood of Jordan Neely is crying out from the street and from the ground, and rightfully so. He was murdered, and his life deserves the dignity that God gave it when He created him, Imago Dei, in His image and after His likeness, and that dignity deserves us to be His voices right now, just to speak out and to stand for Him. So God bless you, Jordan Neely. Take your rest where you are now. And now we know that you're clothed in garments of heaven and in your right mind.
But the reality of it, I'm glad you brought that up before we close out, though, is that when will it stop? Mental illness is a real issue in our community. When will it stop? When will the help come for them? You and I talked about this the other day, and that training center that they're proposing to build, or going to build, they're going to build a training center for officers to be trained. But with those 80 acres, as opposed to having a jail built out there, or a training center, total training center, they can build a facility out there for people who have mental illness. When they get arrested, they would go to that facility versus the Fulton County Jail or the DeKalb County Jail, or they could go to that facility. And I mentioned Fulton and DeKalb because it's in DeKalb County. It's kind of joint. They could go to DeKalb County. They could be put in that facility with people who are trained to deal with people with mental illness. And it's enough land out there for them to do it. And
300 and something acres.
Yeah, and it can be done. It should be done, so you won't have to have those things like what they talking about, the young man who bed bugs ate him up, who had mental issues. that are in the jail, and there are numbers of people that are in jails that have mental issues. The jail is not a place for people who have mental issues. It needs to be a place where people have mental issues. You know, when I grew up, it was a place called Millersville. If you had mental issues, they take you to Millersville. They close Millersville down, and they just loose people in our society with all these mental problems and with no place to go. We got to solve that issue of mental illness and having a place for people to go, other than putting them behind prison bars with people like police officers who are not trained to deal with mental illness. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on that, Shannon. And again, if you want to write us or email us, all you got to do is go to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And some people have even text me and said, hey, would you put this announcement on for me? And I did that for Pastor, the pastor just went off, I'm sorry. Pastor, your name escaped me, but the pastor who just was on, the Cynthia announced it. Thank McDonald, Pastor McDonald. Thank you so much, Pastor McDonald, for just sending your information. If you want to get your news and information out, we do. We really do. It may not be about church, it may be about some other things, but Shannon and I love to even have you on the program. You know, we love to have you. Big Papa and I love to have you on the program right here on Straight Talk to talk about issues that facing our society today and how we can eradicate those issues. And don't forget, join us on the 23rd. That's the 23rd of this month at 10 o'clock. We're going to serve breakfast. We're going to have the police chiefs there. We're going to have the city managers there. We're going to have the sheriff there. And we want you to come and be a part of this forum to discuss the community, the clergy, and public safety, and how we can work together to deal with the issues that's going on. Just like what I just said, the suggestion that that facility build a building or a complex to deal with people who have mental illness, that they can take them there versus taking them to the Fulton County or the Cobb County Jail. Well, Shannon, until next week, you've been in tune to nothing but what? Straight Talk with Joe to the Great
wait,
Fann.
we're going to get in trouble. We're going to get in trouble.
How you going to
Got
get in
to
trouble?
say Happy Mother's Day
I already said Happy
our
Mother's
partner,
Day.
Miss C, and to all of our mothers. Did you already
Wait a
say
minute.
it?
I already said, I said that earlier, but if you want to say it again, you
better
always
say
want
it
to say
again.
something. But let me just
You better
let me
keep
just say
saying
something.
Happy Mother's Day.
I'm gonna say Happy Mother's Day to Claudia. Claudia, happy Mother's Day to you,
Happy
Claudia.
Mother's
Happy
Day.
Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to your mother, Miss Jones. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, Miss Fann. Happy
Mrs.
Mother's
Fann,
Day
Happy
to
Mother's Day to
Cynthia.
Mrs.
Happy
Lackey,
Mother's Day.
Lackey.
Happy Mother's Day, Dr. Lackey, Nikita Lackey. Happy Mother's Day to all y'all mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to you, all of
Mother's
you. And
Day.
happy Mother's Day to you fathers who are mothers. Huh? Some fathers didn't raise children too. Huh? Happy Mother's Day.
Wait, say that again. Wait, say
I
that.
said
You
some
lost me.
fathers
You ain't get the cussing on our
raise their
show, did
kids.
you?
I said some fathers raise children too, right? Some fathers
Who
are
have to be
fathers
mama and
mothers.
daddy.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
All right then. So let's be clear with that, because you're looking at one who have done that before. My brother done that. There are many
Been the
men are
father
doing
and the
that.
mother.
Been the father and
Amen.
the mother. So let me just say to all you mothers, happy Mother's Day. And until next week, it ain't been nothing but what,
I would
Shannon?
love to see the mother side of you. What is the mother side of you? Like, I know
What,
the
what,
father
what,
side of you.
you know the mother
What's
side
the
of me
mother
is?
side of you like?
Let me just tell you what the mother side of you we like. Until next week, it ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.